The season had been nothing but stress, pressure, and non-stop problems for Parker. Week after week, things kept going wrong. Machines kept breaking down, sometimes 2 or 3 on the same day. Fuel prices had shot up almost 37%, which meant every hour of running the machines was like burning money. Crew expenses had reached nearly $1.2 lakh every week. And worst of all, gold recovery had dropped by 28% compared to the previous year. Anyone else in his place would have said, "It's not working anymore. Let's shut it down." But Parker kept going, even though deep down he knew he was standing on the edge of a losing season. But then everything changed because of one simple decision. A decision that almost everyone on his team thought was foolish. A decision taken on a piece of land that old maps had labeled as a useless zone. According to old survey reports, the place had dirt levels of only 0.4 to 0.6 grams per ton. In simple words, digging there was a waste of fuel, time, energy, and money. The crew had told Parker again and again that nothing good could come from that spot. The data from years ago said the place was dead. But Parker didn't listen to the data this time. His gut told him that something was different there, something no one had seen. And then it happened. The scanner suddenly showed readings above 3.1 grams per ton. That was almost 5 times higher than what was normal for that place. The crew was stunned. Such high readings were rare and usually meant only one thing: treasure buried somewhere below the surface. Parker didn't waste a second. He ordered a test pan immediately. The first test pan gave nuggets worth around $850. The deeper they went, the stronger the metal detector screamed, almost like it was begging them to dig more. And then came the moment that shook the entire gold mining community. A single strip, just one stretch of ground, delivered $430,000 worth of gold. The total weight was 173 ounces with a purity level of 91%, and it all came from just one day of digging. That single discovery flipped Parker's entire season. It pushed him from heavy losses to massive profit. This wasn't just a comeback, it was his greatest bounce-back moment. The area was called a useless zone because for years every map, every report, every miner said the same thing. This land had almost no gold. Some miners even removed this zone from their maps completely. They labeled it a dead zone, a place no one should waste time on. Soil was uneven, hard rock came up fast, machines often got stuck, and the gold levels were almost zero. Even Parker's own former team members had tested the area and found only wet dirt and black sand that meant nothing to them. But this is the crazy truth about mining. Sometimes the best gold is hidden in the most ignored places. When Parker heard the place had been abandoned for years and no one had tried digging deep, a spark lit up inside him. He felt something was not right. How could a place be ignored for so long? Why did no one ever check deeper layers? And why did something about the ground feel different every time he stood there? No matter how much the crew told him nothing was there, Parker kept coming back to the same spot again and again. One day, something clicked. Parker noticed the soil color changing as he dug deeper. The top layer looked normal, but the deeper layer had a reddish tint. That color often appears in places where water movement pushes gold into one spot. He had seen this exact soil in places where jackpots had been found. Then his attention went to the black sandy patches. At first it looked normal, but as he touched it, he realized this wasn't normal black sand. It was heavy and powdery, mixed with magnetite, the same kind found near high-density gold zones. To the crew, it was just dirt, but Parker could feel something in his gut. He said, "I don't know why, but something feels different." His sixth sense was waking up, and for Parker, gut feeling had always been a powerful guide. Many times in the past, his biggest finds came from following his gut, even when the data said no. Then came the metal scan. At first, the numbers were low, 0.5, 0.8, sometimes 1.1. It felt like the same old story. But suddenly, the scanner beeped loudly. A sharp spike appeared, 3.1 grams per ton. The crew froze. Tyson asked if the machine was broken. Parker checked again. Same reading, same spike, same metallic echo. This wasn't a glitch. Something heavy was hiding in the deep layers. They scanned from another angle, and the reading shot up to 3.4. The crew was shocked. How had no one found this in all these years? Why had this spot been ignored? Parker smiled, his special smile that only comes when he senses treasure. He said, "This might be something big." He ordered a test pan. The soil was scooped, washed, and slowly rotated. At first, nothing appeared, just dirt swirling in water. And then, the yellow glow. Bright, shiny gold nuggets settled at the bottom. Not flakes, not dust. Real nuggets. Pure, heavy, high grade. The pan had around $850 worth of gold. And remember, this was only a surface test. No machines, no deep digging yet. The crew was silent. Tyson shook his head, saying, "Is this really the same useless zone?" That moment erased all doubts. This place had a secret that no one had found. The test pan alone proved it. But now came the real question. Should they risk a full excavation? It wouldn't be easy. Running machines for full excavation would cost huge money. Fuel was expensive. Machines were already stressed. The crew was tired. If they were wrong, Parker could lose even more money. But Parker wasn't scared. He had confidence in his eyes, like he knew this was their chance. So he made a bold decision. Brought in 3 excavators and 1 loader at the same time. Running that many machines meant burning fuel at double the speed. The crew warned him, "If this doesn't work, we'll be at 0 for the next 2 weeks." But Parker said, "If we don't gamble, we don't win." He even activated night shift. 24 hours of digging. Night work was risky. Visibility was low. Machines could break. But Parker refused to stop. He felt the jackpot was waiting. The deeper they dug, the more the ground changed. The reddish soil deepened. The wet pay thickened. Black sand increased. Every clue pointed towards gold. Tyson was still worried, but Parker stayed calm. He read the ground like a map. Every sign reminded him of the biggest discoveries of his career. Then the moment came. The excavator scooped a deep bucket. The loader lifted it and dumped it out. For a few seconds, the crew saw only dirt. But then, bright yellow pieces flashed in the sunlight. Gold. Real gold. Big chunks, pure and heavy. The kind that instantly tells you the jackpot is here. Tyson shouted. The camera shook. Parker stood speechless. He picked up a nugget and whispered, "This is unreal." The energy in the air completely changed. The crew forgot their fears. Their excitement shot through the roof. Everyone knew they had hit something massive. Then Parker checked the readings again. At first, the numbers were normal. Then suddenly, the meter shot up to 5.4 grams per ton, then 6. The crew couldn't believe it. These numbers were the sign of a true jackpot. Geologists say such high readings happen only in rare gold trap formations, where water and glacial movement compress gold into one pocket. And now, that same rare pattern was happening right in front of them. After that, every bucket had gold. The wet pay layers were loaded. Nuggets, flakes, dust. Every scoop had yellow metal shining inside it. The mats in the sluice box even overloaded and had to be stopped for cleanup. That almost never happens. The deeper they went, the richer the ground became. At one point, half a dozen nuggets fell out of the bucket at once, making everyone cheer. Parker couldn't hide his emotions anymore. He said, "This could be the biggest patch of my career." And to be honest, it really looked like it. Every moment felt unreal. Every bucket was telling the same story. You ignored this place, but today we show you our true power. Then came the final cleanout. The crew washed the mats and laid the gold on the table. The trays filled with yellow metal. The first tray, 42 ounces. The second, 38. The third, 51. The fourth, 42. Total, 173 ounces. Purity, 91%. Value, more than $430,000. The camp went silent, not because they were sad, but because they were in shock. No one expected such a massive amount from a place everyone had called useless. Parker smiled slowly, a deep, relieved smile. "This just saved our season," he said. And he was right. The gold didn't just save their finances. It saved their confidence, hope, and spirit. But the story wasn't over. Later that night, Parker couldn't stop thinking. During the dig, the scanner had picked up deeper metallic signals. That meant there could be another gold pocket below the first one. Finding a second pocket under a jackpot is extremely rare. But when Parker scanned again, the meter showed spikes between 2.9 to 4 grams per ton in deeper layers. The crew asked, "Is there a second layer?" And Parker said, "It looks like yes." If the deeper pocket existed, it could be even bigger than the $430,000 one. No map ever mentioned a lower gold zone. No miner had ever reached depth. This was completely unexplored land. As Parker stood at the dig site at night, the ground felt heavy with secrets. The first jackpot was just the beginning. The question now was, what lies beneath? How many more layers are waiting? And could the next pocket be even bigger? Parker tapped the ground lightly and said, "If this was just the first pocket, what lies below?" A deeper cut was planned for the next day. The suspense grew. The season that looked like a failure had suddenly become the most exciting one yet. And now the story continues. Whoever is watching this will want to stay because the next twist might be even bigger than this one. If the deeper pocket truly exists, it could change everything again. The mine, the season, the future, everything could shift in one day. The ground wasn't done telling its story, and Parker wasn't done listening. Parker Schnabel's season had collapsed into chaos, machines breaking down 2 or 3 at a time, fuel prices exploding by 37%, crew costs draining $1.2 lakh every week, and gold recovery falling 28% below last year. Anyone else would have shut the whole operation down, but Parker pushed forward, even while knowing he was inches from a losing season. Then came the decision everyone called foolish. Digging in a so-called useless zone, marked on old maps as worthless ground with only 0.4 to 0.6 grams of gold per ton. His crew warned him again and again that nothing good could come from that place. But Parker ignored the data and listened to his gut. Almost instantly, the scanner shocked everyone, spiking at 3.1 grams per ton, 5 times higher than expected. A test pan revealed $850 worth of pure nuggets, and the deeper they dug, the louder the detector screamed. Then, in a single historic day, one strip of ground yielded $430,000 in gold, 173 ounces at 91% purity, flipping the entire season from disaster to profit. The crazy truth was that the area had been abandoned for years. Every miner had written it off due to uneven soil, wet ground, stuck machines, and almost zero gold. But Parker noticed details others ignored. Reddish soil that indicated past water movement, heavy black sand rich in magnetite, and a gut feeling that refused to shut up. When the scanner hit a sudden spike of 3.4 grams per ton, he knew something massive was underground. Despite fuel costs, tired machines, and worried crew members, he brought in 3 excavators and a loader, running 24 hours straight. The deeper they went, the richer the ground became. Redder soil, thicker wet pay, heavier black sand, until a bucketful of dirt flashed with massive nuggets that sent the crew shouting in disbelief. Readings soared to 5.4 and 6 grams per ton, numbers that geologists say only form in rare ancient gold trap formations. Every bucket held gold. The mats overflowed twice, and a final cleanout delivered trays of treasure. 42 ounces, 38 ounces, 51 ounces, and 42 ounces, totaling 173 ounces worth $430,000. Parker whispered, "This just saved our season." But late that night, he couldn't stop thinking about something haunting the scanner had shown. deeper metallic signals, readings from layers no miner had ever explored. Before sunrise, he was back at the site, ordering a 10-foot deeper cut, ignoring warnings about fuel loss and bedrock risks. As machines tore into untouched earth, reddish pay dirt returned, black sand thickened, and then the scanner erupted again with readings of 2.9, 3.4, 3.8, 4.1, 4.6, and finally 5.2 grams per ton, proof of a second, deeper, richer pocket. A huge scoop hit the ground, and giant gold nuggets spilled out, smoother and heavier than before. Tyson shouted in shock, while Parker held one nugget, whispering, "This is bigger than the first one." The sluice overloaded again, unbelievable for the second time. In 2 days, and yet Parker's focus only sharpened. As he let deeper soil crumble through his fingers, he realized the readings were rising. They weren't even in the center of the pocket yet, only the edge, which meant the heart of the jackpot, the richest and densest gold zone, was still hidden below. With cold certainty, he ordered, "Keep digging. We're not stopping until we hit the center." And the machines roared back to life as, somewhere deep beneath their feet, the real gold motherlode waited, holding secrets powerful enough to change Parker's entire season and maybe his entire career. As the crew pushed deeper into the earth, the mood shifted from excitement to something closer to awe. Every shovel of dirt felt like it was peeling back layers of time itself. The engines growled, echoing off the cut walls as the sun climbed higher, illuminating the massive pit they had carved into the ancient ground. Parker stood at the edge, hands on his hips, eyes locked on the reading streaming across Tyson's tablet. They were rising, slowly, relentlessly, like a heartbeat coming alive beneath the soil. 5.7 grams per ton, 6.2, 6.8, numbers so rare they bordered on myth. Then the excavator bucket hit something solid. A hollow, metallic thud echoed across the pit, freezing everyone mid-step. Parker rushed to the machine, waving for the operator to stop. He jumped into the cut, boots sinking into wet, dark pay as he brushed aside clumps of dirt with his hands. Beneath the mud, a slab of ancient, compacted river rock lay exposed. A natural gold trap formed thousands of years ago when floodwaters slammed through the valley. His heart hammered. "This is it. This could be the center," he whispered. He signaled the crew, and together they carefully freed the old river layer, shaving inches at a time until pockets of gold began appearing inside the cracks, thick, heavy, hand-sized chunks that no modern river could ever produce. It was ancient gold, untouched, unclaimed, waiting centuries for one stubborn miner to find it. Parker held a massive nugget up to the light, its weight solid and undeniable, and for a moment he couldn't speak. This wasn't just a payday. This was a discovery that could rewrite local mining history, a strike that rivaled the legendary patches of the Klondike Rush. The crew gathered around him, silent, listening to the wind whistle across the open cut. Then, with a determined grin spreading across his face, Parker said 5 words that sent adrenaline surging through everyone on site. "We're just getting started here." The moment those 5 words left Parker's mouth, the energy on site shifted from disbelief to full-throttle determination, and the crew sprang back into action like a machine awakened. The excavators carved deeper into the river layer, their buckets slicing through ancient stone that crumbled away to reveal even more hidden gold trapped within its crevices. Every scoop seemed heavier than the last, thudding against the ground with a weight that made the team exchange wide-eyed glances. They all knew what that meant: dense pay, richer than anything they had ever touched. Tyson shouted readings from the scanner: 7.1 grams per ton, then 7.9, then a shocking spike at 8.4. Each number hit harder than the one before, pushing Parker's pulse faster as he watched centuries of untouched earth pour into the sluice. The mat clogged again, overflowing with thick flakes, chunky nuggets, and fine gold dust swirling together like liquid fire. It took 3 men just to lift the mat, and as they washed it down, the tray filled up faster than the crew could process it. Mitch turned to Parker, shaking his head. "This isn't normal. This is once-in-a-lifetime ground." But Parker wasn't listening anymore. He was staring deeper into the cut, at a darker seam running sideways through the ancient riverbed. He hopped down into the pit and knelt beside it, scraping away dirt with his gloves until the layer's true shape began to appear. A natural trough, a curved depression formed long before modern maps existed, designed by nature to trap gold as floodwaters thundered through the valley, thousands, maybe tens of thousands of years ago. Parker's breath caught. If the gold above had been incredible, the gold inside this trough could be unimaginable. He stood, face flushed with adrenaline, and yelled up to the operator, "Follow this line! Stay on it! It could run for 50 feet, maybe more!" The machines roared to life again, tearing along the hidden ancient channel as gold poured from every crack, every chunk of pay, every scoop of earth that hit the ground like thunder. And then it happened. The bucket curled up and out with a single massive nugget inside, bigger than a man's fist, caked in dirt but unmistakably solid gold. The crew went silent. Tyson's mouth fell open. Mitch backed up a step. Parker climbed into the bucket without hesitation, brushing the dirt away until the nugget gleamed like a star under the afternoon sun, smooth, heavy, easily worth $20,000 by itself. The kind of nugget you hear about in legends, but never actually see. Parker held it for a long moment, feeling its weight in his hands, knowing this wasn't luck. This was the kind of discovery that defined careers, rewrote local history, and proved that even in a season full of breakdowns, bad luck, and impossible odds, pure instinct could still strike deeper than any map or data ever could. He looked up at his crew, all staring at him, and said in a low voice that carried across the entire site, "We're not stopping. Not until we find the end of this river."
They arose, adjusting controls, repositioning equipment, and keeping workflow steady. His experience allowed Parker to focus on strategy, planning routes for ore extraction, and maximizing gold recovery. The synergy between Parker and Brennan was apparent to everyone on site. Meanwhile, Kevin's operation faced relentless challenges. Machines that had once been reliable broke down at the worst possible times. Excavators stalled mid-shift, trucks experienced mechanical failures, and the smaller crew struggled to keep pace. Kevin tried to compensate, stepping in to operate machinery, giving instructions, and troubleshooting problems, but the pressure was mounting. Brennan's absence left a visible gap. Where once the workflow had been smooth, now delays were frequent, mistakes were more costly, and morale suffered. Every morning, Kevin had to regroup his crew, reassign roles, and find ways to maintain productivity despite setbacks. Tensions escalated further when Parker's crew discovered a rich vein of gold in a section of the claim that Kevin had been planning to mine. Parker acted quickly, deploying Brennan and other key operators to maximize extraction. By the end of the first day, the haul was impressive. The operation moved like a well-oiled machine, machines synchronized, workers motivated, and production numbers climbing. In contrast, Kevin's crew faced delays and missed opportunities. The rich vein that could have boosted their output remained largely untapped because the smaller team couldn't respond quickly enough. The psychological edge Parker gained from this success was significant. The pressure on Kevin became even more intense as media crews filmed every move, documenting progress, setbacks, and crew morale. Every breakdown was amplified, every mistake visible to viewers. Kevin's decisions were scrutinized, and the comparison between crews was inevitable. Brennan's move to Parker's side wasn't just a strategic shift, it became a daily reminder of what Kevin had lost. Crew members whispered about the change in momentum, speculated on Parker's planning, and wondered if Kevin could recover before the season's end. Brennan, meanwhile, had to adjust to Parker's high-speed operation. While the work was familiar, the intensity was relentless. Machinery was pushed to the limit, and Parker demanded maximum output every day. Brennan handled the pressure, often taking extra shifts, troubleshooting complex issues, and ensuring that newer crew members followed procedures exactly. His skill and leadership kept the operation moving, and Parker relied on him heavily to maintain the edge over Kevin's crew. Every successful day reinforced the decision to bring Brennan back, strengthening Parker's position in the ongoing